Thanks for tuning in, guys. This is Clark Conaby Shooting, and the topic of our video today is going to be the 7.62 by 39 AR-15 and a couple of the problems and solutions I found with this build. Alrighty, guys, thanks again for tuning in, and I'm going to try to make a quick, efficient, and straight to the point video that highlights some of the problems so that hopefully you guys can learn from my video and don't have to spend the same amount of money or make the same mistakes, or can have a finalized, running, functioning, easy to use 7.62 by 39 build, whether that be a full rifle, a pistol like this is, or whatever. So first off, I think I gave myself the worst kind of 7.62 by 39 rifle that you could have given someone, just because I gave myself an AR pistol. If you don't know what an AR pistol is, that's because I have a stabilizing brace here. This is not an SBR or short barrel rifle, and there's tons of videos on YouTube that can explain the difference between you. I'm not going to waste your time. So on this, you can actually get 7.62 by 39 barrels with different gas systems. If you don't know what a different gas system is, go ahead and look that video up as well. But there's, for at least a 10.5-inch barrel, there's an option to either get a pistol or carbine. Besides that, I can't go mid-length, intermediate rifle, so on. So I chose to get the longest gas system possible, so I went for the carbine, yes, I went for the carbine gas system. Now, with that, I think that if you have certain gas blocks, that they can be overgassed, which is great for reliability. However, I think that this gun can also be reliable, but also shoot smoothly. So I allotted to put an adjustable gas block on there. And if you haven't seen my video for the practical AR-15 upgrades to make your gun easy, whatever, it's my last video I did before this one. Go ahead and just look on my channel and find that, and I'll explain why I'm using an adjustable gas block on almost all of my rifle builds. But since I could tune that gas system, I'm putting enough, gas into the system to lock the bolt back on last round or whatever. But at the same time, I don't want it overgassed where I'm feeling all that felt recoil into my system, as well as since 7.62 by 39 is super dirty, I didn't want all that dirt, grit, carbon buildup and stuff back into my system if it doesn't need to be. So spending another 99 bucks to get an adjustable gas block, I think was totally worth it for me. Besides that, changing out buffer systems. So obviously I also have a Law tactical folding stock because I like having a pistol that's small and short. I have to have a bulk carrier group adapter. So I have a little adapter right there that meets for the bulk carrier group, then this little adapter that then meets the actual buffer and spring that I have in here. So there's just more things going to play in there that could go wrong. I think another important upgrade to get this for a 7.62 by 39 build is going to be a nickel boron bolt carrier group. So I ended up getting a nickel boron bolt carrier group and bolt, and that helped smooth things out a little bit. But the major issue I was actually really having, besides tuning the buffer system, the gas system, was just getting the gun to freaking run. Now, I've done a couple modifications on this, but the next part I'm actually going to be talking about getting this gun to run is magazines. Alrighty, guys, now we're going to be specifically talking about magazines. So I have a couple different magazines here. I have a USGI 223 magazine, which is the same size as these magazines I'm going to be discussing. Then the rest of these are all 7.62 by 39 magazines. So this is an ASC. I think ASC is garbage. I've also paid for every single one of these magazines and everything on the gun. So I can give you my, I guess, real opinion of these products and if they work or not. So ASC, it was garbage. It did not even work out of the box, or if you want to call it that, packaging or whatever. And I finally have just now got it to work by doing some modifications. You can see here I actually ended up getting a Dremel, opening this area up, getting the inside and polishing these guys, and it works now, but it does not work smoothly. So definitely would not recommend ASC. It's garbage. Don't do it. For these are C Products Defense. I don't know if you guys can see that. Trying to get some good lighting here. So C Products Defense. And these actually worked out of the box. I was surprised. These were probably the best magazines on the market. The only thing is my coating is coming off on both of my mags, and I haven't even really used these, but I don't really care. I just want a magazine that works. So these at least worked. However, I think that a magazine could work a lot better than these did. So I ended up doing a little polishing and dremeling So if you look here, the magazine on the left here, I did not do anything to. The magazine on the right, I did modify ever so slightly. So if you look right here, the biggest thing is the difference in the front feed lips. We have problems with 7.62x39 magazines where if I'm pushing on this bullet, that casing right there that you can see, I guess like the opening of the casing right there where the bullet meets the casing hits that front portion of the actual magazine. So I have to go through and then actually lift it up and then push it out if I want it to work. So like that. That one worked that time, but it was kind of iffy on this. Now, if I overgassed my system, it would work reliably, but I don't want to because that's just more felt recoil on the shooter, and it keeps my gun dirtier, and it doesn't need to be. So then when I modified this magazine, I opened it up just a little bit, so now I can actually go through, and these come out pretty smoothly. However, one of the problems I did have, if I can put this in one-handed here for you guys, is that these two portions here on the side, these two little dimples, seem to actually be getting caught on the rim of the 7.62x39 case. Because if you look at the difference here, the 7.62x39 is actually tapered, or I guess I'll call it that, where it is thicker in the back portion than it is up here, versus 223 is uniform the entire way. So because of that, we're having issues where I would be pushing it, and I can feel it get caught right there. And then right there, it gets caught, and I have to have more force to actually push it out. So in my actual recoil impulse cycle, I could have it where, you know, I felt it, boom, ejects the casing, loads the next one, and it's like, and it wasn't wanting to go in. So that was one of the problems that we had with these, but I went through and polished those insides as best as I could after taking some of it off. And if you can see right here, when I was dremeling, I actually dremeled so much that I dremeled a little hole through it. Now, it hasn't, you know, affected this magazine, and this magazine still works much better than the original C Products Defense. So for the price, I think these C Products Defense, they work out of the box, but they don't work smoothly. So if you're trying to have a competition 3-gun 7.62x39 that's super flat and super smooth, it's not going to be with these magazines. So cheap. They'll work out of the box, but with a little modification, you can get them to run better, but I still don't think you should have to do that. So C Products Defense, they pass, but they're not great. Next is not this guy, because this is my 223 magazine, so he doesn't work in this build. However, the next thing I wanted was this guy right here, which was made by Ross Defense Systems, which it's called the Uni-mag. So the Uni-mag, it actually takes all of these calibers, such as 7.62x39, 300 Blackout, 450 SOCOM, 545x39, 223, 6.8 Special, Grendel, all that in one magazine, which is kind of cool. So the one thing that's different about them that I think really solves the problem, or at least the 7.62x39 magazine problem, is their follower. So if you look right here, I have not modified this at all, and it is already significantly open, or I guess if you want to call that, compared to me having to Dremel away on the other magazine. So I think they got their magazine body and coating done right, because their coating's not coming off, and it seems like I'm not having to do any modifying, as well as when I've just put bullets in here, or ammo, and I've tried to just use my finger really quick to like push through, it doesn't really get caught anywhere, and it definitely doesn't get caught in the front. So I'm actually really excited to be using these magazines because they seem to work really smoothly, as well as I really don't like the look of these like 20 or even 30s that really have the really kind of banana clip look to them, because they look kind of weird in my opinion, versus I can get 25 rounds out of this guy instead of 20, and it looks like a normal 223 magazine, which I just like that look. So I'm excited to go shoot these guys. I'm going to shoot them, show you guys some videos of me shooting these different magazines, and let you guys determine what you guys think. And I'll give you my after action if whether I approve or disapprove the actual Uni-mag. So let's see. Alrighty, one of the things I'd like to discuss that I found is the buffer spring. So what do I mean by that is with the 7.62x39 here using the Uni-mag, with a standard carbine spring that I have in here in regular, I think it's a H buffer, versus in here I have a Sprinco Red. So Sprinco Blue is their carbine, Sprinco Red is their plus 10% power. So it's just a firmer spring that has more, you know, I guess you're gonna call it poundage or whatever, going back and also going forward, so it just functions and cycles better. So since we were having feeding issues with these before, even though this mag is smoother, I went ahead and also made sure to put a plus 10% power spring in here, and I'm gonna show you the difference between it feeding with these versus a regular carbine spring, and you'll see that we'll have feeding issues with the regular carbine spring. So, oops. Sorry about that. So fully loaded 25 round mag. Gonna go here. No problem. No problem. No problem. Okay. So then let's go ahead and take this out real quick. Open this up. Let's put this carbine spring in there. Okay. Let's load this guy back up with the 3 rounds. We're back to 25 rounds, so it's consistent. All right. Okay. So now, putting the same amount of force on it. I'm gonna go back and then let it forward. Okay, it went, and then boom. There we hit our first problem. So let me see if you guys can see this. So our VCG is getting caught while pushing it up. So what I can do now is if I can get this set up, I can just pull back on it and let it go, and it'll go through. But then the same thing, if I release it, it then has issues. So I have to give it force and let it go again. So using a Sprinco Red really helps with that feeding. Which, yeah, as you can see there, it's almost every one. But there you go. And here's a quick video showing the difference between the two. So this with a little bit of red there, this is the Sprinco Red. And you can see it just extends a little bit longer, it has a little bit more force. H1 buffer. Over here I have typical, you know, basic carbine springs that are the same length. Then I also have a carbine buffer, which is even less, so it's, I believe, 3 ounces instead of about 3.8, 3.6 to 4. And then I have a hydraulic buffer. I put this hydraulic buffer in my gun, and actually, I guess because of the actual length of the buffer itself, since I am also using the Law Tactical folding stock. Let me show you guys here. The Law Tactical folding stock has a little adapter that goes in the back of your bolt carrier group. So I can take that part out real quick for you guys. And what that does, it fits in the actual back open portion of your bolt carrier group so that it touches the buffer. Now I think with that Blitzkrieg Components hydraulic buffer, it was actually going too far back, that it was not allowing me to actually load ammunition. So what I mean by that is that my bolt carrier group was coming back, and I could actually see the bolt in the bolt carrier group coming back to about right here, and that's as far as I could go. So with that specific buffer in this setup, I actually could not load ammunition, which kind of sucks. Originally I had this buffer and buffer spring in there, and I was actually having issues of it having enough force to actually, you know, take the rounds that were in the magazine, and then if I was pushing it back and then letting it go forward, it was having problems. So having that stronger spring and heavier buffer gave it enough, I guess, if you want to call it that, or force, that when it's, you know, coming back, it has enough, you know, back pressure that I tuned my gas block so that it had enough force to come back and lock the magazine, but also enough force to push that next round of steel case ammo being, you know, dragged across a steel magazine into that chamber. So what we're gonna do now in this next clip is we're going to load up the Uni-mag with 25 rounds of 7.62x39 and see if it functions on a fully loaded magazine, because all these magazines, they work great with 1 or 2 rounds, but once I load this, you know, to 9 or 10, or this to 19 or 20, we then start having issues of rounds nosediving. But with their new design and their new follower, we should not have those problems. Alrighty, so we got our fully loaded magazine of 25 rounds. We're gonna shoot 4 or 5 rounds to see if that functions, and then to prove to you guys that I'm not jacking with this mag or anything, this is another mag out of the box. They were kind enough to send me for free, even though I purchased this one, so good for them. But if it didn't work, I wouldn't want it anyways. So let's see if this works. If it does work, I'm then going to cut this open it up, load 5 or 6 rounds, and just prove to you guys that a new magazine out of the box runs smoothly, which is what I'm looking for in this 7.62x39 AR platform. All right. Let's see if it works. So that was not the magazine's fault, that was another primer issue. So we're just gonna load 1 more round in there. So now we shot 1. We're back at 25. Okay, let's give this a go. That's pretty smooth shooting. So that worked. Okay, and then we're then going to take our new magazine, for a new mag, we'll load 5 rounds in here and see if it works as well. Alrighty, let's do 2 or 3 rounds. No problem. Sweet. So I'm gonna say, I'm gonna do some more testing with this. So if you guys follow me on Instagram or Facebook, I'm gonna do some more extensive testing on this, shoot a couple 100 more rounds, and get back to you guys and see if I still approve them. But as of right now, I'd say that the Uni-mag seem to be a good solution for 7.62x39 builds. The other things that you guys might want to consider, and obviously what I'm having problems with is because I'm using this WPA crap ammo because it's cheap. I can get this for close to 19 cents a round, minus tax and shipping, obviously. But versus 300 blackout, which is the whole reason you go 7.62x39 over 300 blackout, is that I can actually get this much cheaper. The cheapest remanufactured 300 blackout I could get that was supersonic, not subsonic, was close to 48 to 50 cents a round for 1,000 if you want to spend that much, versus 19 cents a round. Obviously, sometimes you're gonna have problems with these. However, what some people can do is they'll actually get different hammer springs. So if you have an extended firing pin and a harder hitting or heavier hammer spring, it's just going to hit that firing pin harder, which obviously is going to give you more reliability in the sense of it's going to set off these Russian Tula primers, versus if I'm using, premium, Fort Scott munitions, brass case 7.62x39, or something that's actually like a premium quality versus crap ammo like this. The only other downsides I can see to having a 7.62x39 is you have to buy special magazines. Now this special magazine I can also use in my AR-15, so if you wanted to have an AR-15, buy 5 or 6 of these and then get a 7.62x39, that's kind of cool. I guess that's unique about these Uni-mags, instead of having to buy these weird specialized 7.62x39 only magazines. And then a special bolt, and then of course a barrel. If you have a 223 AR-15 right now, you can then simply just switch out the barrel, have a 16-inch or whatever you want. If you have an SBR, you can go shorter than that, 300 blackout barrel,
And you can use the same, P-mags, metal mags, and the same bolt carrier group. So if you're trying to just convert one of your ARs to a 300 blackout instead of just building a new complete AR, 300 blackout might be the way to go. However, I'll let you do the research on your own, but you can load a 300 blackout, if I'm not mistaken, on or in a 223 or 5.56 barrel. And then obviously that's gonna blow up in your gun. So then you could lose your gun, your barrel, your forend, whatever it would be. So take that into consideration. Whereas this, if I was to load a 223 in here, it's not gonna work, and I can't load a 7.62x39 in a 223. So if you're, I guess, not paying attention to what you're loading in your gun, that might be something for you to consider. But I think going the 7.62x39 route after you kind of get everything fixed, if you're not running something like the Mutant or something, or an AR-47, that if you really work on getting a heavy buffer, like plus 10% power spring, a nickel boron bolt carrier group, an adjustable gas block, and then these Ross Defense System Unimags, you have a pretty good 7.62x39 build that is going to be reliable but also function smoothly. So I'm gonna do some shooting unsuppressed now, but thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions or anything that you think that I left out, feel free to go ahead and just I guess leave a comment below and I'll try to get to those. Or if you want to see something else, maybe I could just make a part 2 series of some of the other things that I've done. And I guess actually the one last thing I'm going to show you in this next clip real quick is something that I actually did to alter the M4 feed ramps on my barrel that I forgot to include in this video, which I think is super important as well. So after disassembling my rifle, I wanted you guys to see right here. That's probably the best camera I'm going to be able to get with my GoPro. But you see these two shiny portions? So my barrel's M4 feed ramps only went about half that distance. So I took a small Dremel tool and then actually dremeled out larger feed ramps. If that's something you don't want to do, I guess you could take it to a gunsmith or something. However, the problem I was having with some of my earlier magazines, not the Ross Defense Systems, was that my barrel was actually nosediving into the upper receiver and not even hitting the feed ramps at all. Now, obviously, I'm not gonna have another upper receiver and put this barrel in it to test it to see if I had the problem with the Ross Defense System magazines, because I ended up trying to get the C Products Defense at ASC's working with this quick fix, if you want to call it that. But I think all in all, like, it may not look pretty, and if you're trying to resell it, like, somebody might not like that. However, opening up these feed ramps really increased the reliability of my gun, and I don't see why they don't just have giant feed ramps like this on all the rest of the guns. So if you know why that is, I guess maybe it's more machining, takes more time or something. But I think that this really increased my reliability because it's just a bigger funnel. It's like putting a mag well on your pistol or something. So pretty much I have almost no feeding issues now because of this fix. But if you have any comments, suggestions, come on, hit me up and leave a comment and I'll get back to it as soon as possible. But thanks for tuning in, guys. I hope to do more of these videos in the future, and if you hit that little subscribe button and then the bell notification so that you get notifications whenever I post new videos, I'd appreciate it. So thanks, guys.